And the one thing that I did want to bring up today, of course, is probably the topic that is on a lot of people's minds, which is Sora AI. so, uh,
Well, as of yesterday, I don't think anyone knew before then.
exactly, yeah, this is something that OpenAI just kind of released out to the world yesterday, where they basically created a text to video generation where they can essentially generate videos up to 1 minute long just by using, you know, text prompts ranging from, pretty simple and generic text prompts to things that are a lot more specific. So it is not available to the public right now. They're kind of mostly testing it right now, but they kind of first went public with this kind of announcement of this yesterday, and they were showcasing a lot of the videos and things that they've been creating with it. So it's a little bit unclear about how long it takes to generate one of these videos off of a text prompt and so on. But just kind of going through, I mean, it is pretty amazing some of the things that they've kind of came up with. So here's kind of like the first kind of like headline image of this woman walking kind of through Tokyo, and it's pretty hyper realistic looking. And of course, like if you're looking close and that you're on like a AI generated page, you're going to be looking for all the little inconsistencies and everything
Like
like
the
that.
legs, they look a little too smooth, weird.
Yeah,
Like,
and they kind of slide across the ground in weird ways, and like they're kind of like crossover sometimes. So there's definitely like some weird things, like if you're looking for it. But again, if you're not necessarily looking for it, like you might not pick up on all these things. So it is, pretty wild. I think a couple of the impressive ones I saw. Of course, there's this one which is this kind of like old timey grainy footage, and and especially if you're kind of using like maybe a lower quality, like it can kind of hide some of those inconsistencies a little bit better. A couple of the ones that I found particularly impressive was like this one here, where it's this like car driving on this dirt road. And I mean, it is really impressive. This car is like perfectly tracking this dirt road, and
I
it
mean,
kind of like,
it does look like a video game in a way. The car
yeah,
itself, I
yeah,
feel like.
because it's kind of like a fixed camera point of view.
Yeah,
But I mean, if this was a video game, this would be a really good looking video
good
game,
looking
right?
video game, I will say.
Yeah.
But actually, I did see someone generate Minecraft footage using it as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Paolo was
And it
showing that
just
on
looks like a
the
weird,
show this
wacky
morning.
dreamscape sort of.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it is interesting that it kind of has some like limited understanding of like physics, like how there's like kind of the dust kicking up from the like the back of the wheels here. There's like kind of another one where there's like some dogs playing in snow, and like the snow is kind of like flying off their faces. They're kind of like moving the head around and everything. This one is actually one that I was very impressed by, where it's just kind of like a very simple scene of like a camera kind of moving through an art gallery. And the reason that I found this one particularly impressive is because like I've seen kind of some AI generated video in the past where there is like kind of like a fixed image, but it kind of like morphs and changes over time, especially as like the perspective shifts.
Yes.
Like kind of
It
like
does look stable here.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
That's-
say. Like everything is pretty like lock solid in, and even though like as the angles are changing and like the perspective at which the camera is viewing these different images is changing, like it's not, like the pictures aren't like necessarily morphing. They're like the same picture, but it's just like a different angle on it. So I thought that one was particularly
Yeah, and
impressive to me.
just to answer this question, it's not available.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like
It's
it
a
must
very
also end
limited
up
beta
being
right
a
now.
yeah, and it must also be expensive when it comes out because that's a lot of compute right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there is kind of, again, it has to kind of like not only understand just like kind of regular image generation, but then also how things are interacting with each other, and have some again limited understanding of physics. But yeah, and then it's cool because they kind of brought up some of like the weaknesses of it. So there's like somebody running on a treadmill, but they're running like completely backwards on the treadmill, so it's it's like okay, it kind of understands, even though it's not necessarily like something possible
Well,
that you could do. Or
I mean, for like checking out your own animation and maybe like mocking up your own game animation in a 3D program, that might still be a good reference.
you mean like for like getting a walk cycle or something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah. Although this one, did you see this one where there's like the dogs and there's like new dogs appearing and they're like morphing into each
What the
other
fuck is going
together?
on?
Like
That
it
no, that's
starts
how
with like
dogs work.
3 dogs and then there's like 7 by the end.
I see no issue. It's, what the fuck?
And then we have a basketball that kind of like drops through the hoop and then it explodes and a new basketball spawns. And then there's like weird things, like there's this like kind of chair that's like liquid almost, and then there's like
What the?
so I mean there's definitely like some weird things going on here, but like admittedly, I mean this is really high quality looking stuff. um and that is interesting. Someone says that I saw some speculation that they trained the model on Unreal Engine 5 to give it physics and spatial knowledge. That kind of makes sense, right? To kind of like
I
have
could see that happening.
some simulation software, and yeah, to be
And it
trained on
also
that.
explains why things move the way that they do, because it is very game-like movement. If you know, like
Yeah, I noticed some of the
it's very
movement.
smooth, Quaternion, almost. Yeah.
I'm gonna see if
Again,
I can
that car
find.
to me that car is so gamey.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
definitely.
almost like an Unreal 5 Lumen. Show all the things that the dirt and the dust kind
Right.
of example.
Yeah, there's a couple of videos in here about where they're like kind of like some things are moving and some physics things are happening. I'm trying to think of like a particular one where I could kind of showcase this behavior, but it almost looks like some of the motion is like filmed in reverse. Like you ever seen those videos where like someone does some action and then they like play the video in reverse to make it look kind of different. Like that's almost how kind of like some
Yeah.
of the physics acts for me. Yeah, in this video there's like one particular shot where um, they kind of like move something up onto like a door. I think it's coming up right here. Yeah, right there. Like it almost looks like that happens like in reverse. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
speeds up and then slows down. Like just kind of like the movement of that. But otherwise, I mean, this is very impressive about like all the details and everything with
It,
this.
it
So
it definitely does mean that people have to be more skeptical of anything they watched ever in the future, because
certainly.
you can certainly not trust an image anymore, and
Yeah,
video is already skeptical at this point.
right. I will say the one kind of defining thing right now with the OpenAI videos is you'll see in the lower right corner there's kind of like a little like barcode looking thing that will morph into the OpenAI logo. So there, that
Yes.
is one way that you can kind of tell that it was made with OpenAI, but obviously it's right in the lower corner, and that's fairly easy to crop
Cut out.
out.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is wild stuff, and so yeah, I mean, I guess to kind of maybe like tie this into games a little bit, like how do you see any potential uses this could be used for in games at all, or do you kind of have
I,
any thoughts of?
I I don't know. I like with the art stuff, then like concept art and stuff like that, it makes more sense. Whereas this video stuff, I don't feel like game development, other than maybe again, as I said earlier, animation. It
Right,
might
yeah,
help with.
using it as a reference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I saw someone comment on the fact that this particular one, like, why is it curious about the flaw? Like, where no human animator would make it curious about a flaw. I don't think.
whoa, this texture.
But
Yeah. And no, that is interesting about it, potentially being trained on Unreal Engine 5 physics. I think one thing that I've kind of heard with a lot of the AI generation is, of course, in the beginning, it seems like a lot of kind of copyrighted data and things that were already kind of available online were just kind of being scraped and data was being trained on that. But one thing that I've heard that a lot of kind of like AI researchers are doing now is doing things where they're more kind of like generating the input data, where maybe they'll go into like a 3D modeling program like Blender or something like that, and they'll model out something that kind of like resembles a water bottle, right? And then they'll
Yeah.
kind of train it on that data, but then they'll also use kind of some of the features that are available in Blender to kind of do some vertex manipulation to make a bunch of different variations of water bottles, and then it can kind of like now train that on the larger data set.
I can almost see people going into Houdini to make like a generic bottle maker, and then it just generates a bazillion different bottles
Yeah, yeah,
just for
certainly.
AI.
Exactly.
But
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like is something that some of these AI researchers are trying to do, and with the goal of getting higher quality data, and then again they're kind of training that off of data that they own, so there isn't kind of that separate copyright concern that I know is kind of a big issue for a lot of people.
yeah, yep.
Cool. So, did you have anything else to say on any of this OpenAI stuff other than we're all doomed?
Nah, I don't think so. I
Yeah.
don't think we're doomed yet, but it does seem like OpenAI is moving way too fast right now.
Yeah, it is impressive tech, and it is insane how quickly we got here. And yeah, only time will tell where this goes in the very near future.
Yeah.